Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines. I'm with Living the One Light. And today I am making a video to talk about the Mercury retrograde coming up. The retrograde part is coming up starting on August 4th, 2024, but we're actually already in what I would call the Mercury retrograde space. And I'll explain why. And there's many layers I want to dive into with regard to this Mercury retrograde. It's beautifully tying together all kinds of things. That's something that I just feel with Mercury retrogrades in general, is that they really do. I mean, Mercury is the messenger, the god of the, sorry, the messenger is the messenger of the gods, right? So Mercury ties together a lot of things, and Mercury is the planet that's the closest to the sun. And so it's a conduit in all kinds of ways. And so for me, when Mercury goes retrograde, often the energetic that I feel in it is this sense of continuity and connection and helping to create a certain kind of flow between different energetics. So I definitely feel that for sure in this particular Mercury retrograde. And yeah, so lots of things I want to weave in, and hopefully this will feel supportive for you in your journey. So this morning I met with some of the people in my monthly membership, which you're always welcome to join. And we meet once a month, and this morning we had a conversation about a lot of things, but including this Mercury retrograde and lots of the themes there. And so many things came alive in just the way I realized certain things fit together with the Mercury retrograde and with the bigger picture of our astrology and our world at this moment. And then so much came alive in the wisdom of you, people who were there. So yeah, thank you to those of you who were there so much. And if you feel called to be part of, a direct community in that way, in a more live way, it's relatively not expensive, $22 a month, and you're very welcome. But okay, so here is what I want to show you. Here are the dates of this Mercury retrograde. And I'm showing you here not only when Mercury itself is going to go retrograde, but also the shadow period, which we're already in. So what you can see is, like all retrogrades of any planet, there are usually 3 phases. Sometimes with, for example, Pluto, there might be 5 actually, but with Mercury retrogrades, there's 3 phases. And so this first phase is when Mercury is going, we see it from our perspective, it's going across the sky through the zodiac, in the space where it will eventually go back, retrograde, backward, quote unquote, backward, across that same part of the sky again. And the retrograde time is phase 2. And then phase 3 is when Mercury goes direct and passes through that exact same part of the sky yet again for a third time, right? So currently we're in that phase 1. So Mercury is going to go retrograde on August 4th at the same time as the new moon happening in Leo. And I'll talk more about that in a second. But Mercury entered what's called the retrograde shadow, or that space of the sky where it's going to go retrograde. It entered that space of the sky on July 16th, 2024. So a couple weeks ago. I'm recording this on July 31st. So during that phase 1, when Mercury is tracing the part of the sky where it's going to go retrograde, sorry, and I'm just realizing there's an incorrect thing on here. that timing, that phase one often feels like whatever themes are meant to come alive in this Mercury retrograde, sometimes will just sort of peek their heads up. Like you'll have a sense of, oh, that theme is alive, and that theme is alive, and that theme is alive. It might be multiple, it might be one, it might be something that comes to your conscious awareness or not. Um, and then we get to phase two, which is the actual retrograde. And that's when typically and stereotypically, then we'll feel the sense of, oh, okay, we're taking a step back. We're getting another look at those themes, whatever that happened to be. Those themes that were sort of popping their heads up during phase one. Then in phase two, that retrograde time, it's like we can take a step back and maybe get a different perspective, start to percolate on, okay, maybe I want to do this a little differently. And then phase three, when Mercury goes direct, and now it's going over that same part of the sky, the third and final time in this retrograde time, then that third phase is when often there'll be a sense of resolution or, okay, yeah, I get it now. Like phase one, I noticed those themes. Phase two, I was reflecting on them or going more deeply inside myself. And then, maybe coming up with new solutions or new ideas were coming alive. And then phase three, again, stereotypically would be when now we have some kind of resolution or we have a new way forward. Okay, so in this retrograde time, that phase one is from July 16th to August 4th. Then Mercury goes retrograde on August 4th on the same day as the new moon. And so we have phase two, that retrograde period from August 4th to August 28th. And then Mercury goes direct on August 28th. And it then exits, what's called the retrograde shadow on September 11th, 2024. So the Mercury will be retrograde from August 4th to August 28th, but really I would say the totality of the Mercury retrograde period is really from July 16th to September 11th. And also to name, so that retrograde space is from 21 of Leo to 4 degrees of Virgo. So this Mercury retrograde ties together energies of both Leo and Virgo. And it really highlights the relationship between Leo and Virgo and how those two blend together. And another significant thing that Kaylin Castell talks about in a video that I haven't even watched, but I'm sure it's amazing. Notice that she talked about it, is that the Mercury will be passing over the star Regulus, which is the heart of Leo the lion, 3 times. So, each time it does this, in each of these phases, it will pass over Regulus, which is currently at 0 degrees of Virgo. So Regulus is a big player in this time. And I talked a lot about Regulus in my new moon video, the new moon in Leo video that I did. And I talk about how Regulus also is going to be really, really highlighted both at the new moon and at the full moon. So that is a theme I'm going to speak to a little bit more with this Mercury retrograde as well. Okay, so, okay. And then before I even dive into, what do I make of all this? Because there's a lot there. I really want to seed your own intuitive knowing or feeling of it by showing you one other thing that's so cool. And you can do this yourself if you ever want to on Stellarium. So I'm going to show you where Mercury is going to be going in the sky. It's just, wow. It's really, really awesome to look at it this way. So just, yeah, as I say so many times with all of my work, I definitely am here to give my thoughts, but it's really, this is you are just as connected to Mercury as I am, right? You are just as connected to the stars as we all are. So, so I'd love for you to feel and tell us what comes alive for you here. Also, if if you want, no pressure, no pressure. But I really want to hold space for the reality that we all are literally beings of the cosmos and beings of the earth, which is a being of the cosmos. Um, so this knowledge is just as alive in you as it is in me. Okay, so here is July 16th. So July 16th, again, is the beginning of what I would call this whole Mercury retrograde space. And here is Leo the Lion, the constellation. So on July 16th, Mercury was at 21 degrees of Leo, the seasonal sign Leo. And it was just about to, it had come out of the constellation of Cancer, and it was just about to enter the constellation of Leo the Lion. So, and this star right here is Regulus. Okay, so you can pay attention to both Mercury and Regulus as we watch Mercury here. And this red line is the ecliptic. So this red line is where in the sky we see the path of the sun, basically. And you can see the sun is on the ecliptic. The sun will always be on the ecliptic. Some the other planets kind of, will go this way and that way a little bit. But the sun will always be right there because that's the definition of what the ecliptic is. So, and you'll see Mercury will veer a little bit off the ecliptic too during this retrograde time. Anyway, but the real point is just pay attention. So I'm going to take us forward day by day through this whole, I'm going to take us from July 16th all the way to September 11th, right? Because that's, again, the full Mercury retrograde shadow time. And just watch Mercury and just, feel in your own way. What is Mercury doing here? From our perspective on Earth, it's doing this dance with the constellation of Leo the Lion, and specifically with Regulus. Regulus is right there on the ecliptic. I mean, right there. So, yeah, so let's just watch this. So I'm just going to go day by day. Okay, so here comes Mercury to Regulus. That is July 24th, 25th. Mercury is right with Regulus. And then you can see there's Mercury starting to station retrograde. It's not quite retrograde. Remember, it's going to go today. So here's today, the day I'm recording this, July 31st. Mercury is kind of slowing down from our vantage point in the sky. And it's getting ready to turn, quote unquote, turn around from our vantage point. And here comes Venus getting much, much closer to Regulus. And now we go forward 4 more days. You can see Mercury is basically now Mercury has turned around. Okay. And Venus, this is the day of the new moon. So on this day, Venus is right there, right on Regulus, the heart of Leo the Lion. Mercury is technically at 4 degrees of Virgo, but you can see, I mean, Mercury is still pretty darn close to Regulus. A little bit off the ecliptic there. And it's going retrograde now. So we have Venus right on the heart of Leo the Lion, the sun and the moon here in the seasonal sign of Leo, but the 12 degrees of Leo, but right there in the constellation of Cancer, the crab. And now here's Mercury going retrograde. Okay. And then keep going. There goes the moon, passing right by Venus, Regulus. This is the day after the new moon, Mercury. And we keep going. And here's Mercury coming, quote unquote, backward, right? And here it comes, past Regulus again. So this is August 14th-ish, when, you know, Mercury will be right there with Regulus. Keep going. Now Mercury is conjunct the sun, in an interior conjunction. So Mercury is between the Earth and the sun at this conjunction. And here is the day of August 19th, which is the incredibly powerful full moon in Aquarius. So here's the sun now with Mercury, and actually Vesta also right there with Regulus. And again, and I talk more about this phenomenon of the new moon and the full moon having and their relationship to Regulus in the new moon video. And I'll probably talk about it again when I do a full moon video for the full moon in Aquarius, but just to again, we're tracking Mercury in particular in this video here. So, but this is the day of that very powerful full moon in Aquarius. It's also the day of the first of 3 Jupiter-Saturn squares. So that's a whole topic in and of itself, which I may or may not have time to make a video for, but that is just a really, really powerful. That's just an amazingly powerful day. Okay, and we keep going, and here comes Mercury now, still going quote unquote backward until we get to, now you can see it's slowing down and it's turning around, and here's August 28th when it stations direct. And you can see it's back now to the point where it was on July 16th, you know, about to enter Leo the Lion. And we keep going. And here comes Mercury turning back around from our vantage point. Now we're in September. And here comes Mercury back to Regulus, September 8th. And now September 11th, that is the point. That's, again, 4 degrees of Virgo, where Mercury is going to be going retrograde on August 4th. It'll be back to that point on September 11th. So, yeah, and then, of course, then, you know, if we keep going, it's going to keep going, and now it's going to be conjunct the sun again, but on the other side of the sun, that is the end of September. And the other thing going on, big deal going on in September is then we have the first of the 2 eclipses we're going to be having. There's going to be one on September 16th, 17th, depending on where you are in the world, one on October 2nd, and then an almost eclipse in the middle of October also. So this whole lunar cycle of this new moon in Leo and this Mercury retrograde is really actually leading into, and in a way you could say setting up, the energetics of the eclipse season. So that's a whole other topic. But the main thing I wanted to get a sense for there, or help you, encourage you to get a sense for, is just what did that feel like, you know, when you see Mercury doing this dance, entering Leo the Lion, the constellation, and then sitting there, you know, tracing back and forth over Regulus 3 different times, and Venus and the Sun and Vesta doing that also. I mean, passing through Regulus too, right? So it's just I just want to, on a visceral level, really feel that Mercury is going back and forth into and out of the heart of Leo the Lion with Regulus. Okay, so yeah, there's so many things, so many layers. And again, I would love your thoughts. I'll just touch on a few of them. Okay. I would say actually 2 main themes that I feel in it, and I'm sure others will come alive, especially through you. Okay. But one thing that jumped out at me this morning when I was meeting with the members in my membership was, when we look at the chart of the new moon, I want to show you something with regard to Mercury. All right. Here we go. So here again is the chart of the new moon. If you want to hear more about the new moon itself, go back to my new moon video. But here is Mercury, 4 degrees of Virgo. Like I said, going to be going retrograde that same day. And when it's going retrograde, it's actually going to be in a grand trine, grand Earth trine with Mercury in Virgo, 4 degrees of Virgo, Hygeia, the goddess of healing, at 4 degrees of Taurus, and then Ixion, the Kuiper belt object, at 4 degrees of Capricorn. So lots and lots and lots I could say about this. But the big thing that came alive for me this morning, and that's still quite alive for me in it all, is that Hygeia, so Earth, these are all Earth signs. So Earth signs obviously connect us to the Earth, and they're related to the Earth because they're Earth signs. But Hygeia, no matter what sign it's in, I think of Hygeia very strongly, very powerfully, being an energetic that reminds us of the wisdom of our bodies. When I see Hygeia transits in my own life and also in the transits of clients, almost always there's something going on where the body is going, hello, listen to me. I have something important to say. And there might be an actual like physical illness, or there might be a physical something where the body's just, it doesn't have to be an illness, but it can be just something where the body is saying, hey, make a shift here, or yeah, listen up. Like maybe you've forgotten about me. So Mercury will be in this grand trine with Hygeia. So this definite reminder of the wisdom of our bodies, the need to listen to our bodies. And then Ixion. So Ixion is very interesting. I've talked about Ixion in lots of other videos. Heather Ensworth talks about Ixion. And Ixion in the month of August is in this very powerful group of beings in Capricorn. Ixion, Pholus, Quaoar, and Ceres are all grouped together in Capricorn, and they are being squared by the nodes of the moon. So they're very highlighted. And so what I feel in that grouping is that we have an imperative right now, really, to be transmuting, releasing all of these karmic layers of stuff that have to come up, that we're moving into this time of, we're in this time of remembering, we're really being so supported to come into our wholeness. I've done this whole wholeness way series, et cetera, et cetera. And part of that is that we are being held to transmute the layers that don't serve, like that they served some purpose maybe, but now they need to be released. And it would be nice in a way if we could just jump straight to, some linear end goal. But that the energies of the astrology, and I would just say the energies certainly in my praying, and just also from what I know from having been a therapist for a long time working with trauma, that's not how our bodies work. That's not how us as humans work. That's not really actually how life works. It's not a linear process. Basically, almost nothing in life is linear. So, and that's hard for our rational brains sometimes to accept. I can speak, for myself. But what this is saying is, yeah, it's going to be coming out, and we already know that. We already see it. We've been seeing it. So when we have, Ixion in particular in that grouping he was to cut to the chase, like there's a much longer story about him, of course, but to cut to the chase, he eventually was made to, in a sense, be spinning in a kind of prison for all of eternity. And he was spinning in a prison for, he's spinning, in this trapped situation for all of eternity due to him violating many layers of morality and ethics of all kinds, but including the ethics around and the morality and the law, the social understanding of what it is to be a guest and also to be a host of a guest. So there are infinite layers and all of that. But to me, he really represents all of this violation that we have as humans have done to our earth, to each other, the very, 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 very inexcusable, just not okay aspects of the patriarchy, essentially, right? And that's part of what's coming up big time, big time, big time, big time. So when that's coming up, part of what I feel Mercury in Virgo giving us an opportunity to do, and especially Hygeia, this is part of what clicked for me this morning with my members, was when that stuff is coming up, it's a lot. And some of it is for us to personally process, and some of it is not. So, yeah, I'll just pause. I'll come back. I'll stop sharing my screen for 1 second so I can say this, because it's a teeny bit, I'm going to veer a little bit personal just to ground this and bring this home. I won't go into the details of this, but just to give you a sense. So, a couple weeks ago, I've mentioned this before, I had a situation come up in my local community, with my one of my children's school, and really, 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 really awful situation. So I had, I've been dealing with that quite a lot, and not only for me personally, but also for other people involved in the situation, affected by it. And when I was in social work, I used to do that. I used to work in the realm of, the type of issue that came up in the school with this teacher. And so part of me immediately switched into, most of me was in mom mode, and most of me was in just, the personal experience of it. But a part of me switched into social worker mode, kind of naturally, because that's what happens when you have that kind of background, right? And long story short, a few days ago, my body told me in no uncertain terms that that was not mine to do. And, because the layers of what was being discovered, or what was coming out about what had been going on with this teacher, were pretty horrific and bad, just bad. So a very Ixionish kind of energy. And in my days as a social worker, it was my job. It was my job to investigate the whole thing, to digest figure the whole thing out, be the one to give advice, be the one to find a solution, be the one to, I was the leader of lots and lots of teams where these kinds of things were being investigated and then handled. And but in this case, that's not my job. It's not. And so I hit a point a few days ago where my body, I won't go into the details, but basically was like, nope, that is not your job. And if you don't listen, we will tell, we, meaning my body, we will make it loud and clear. And it did. So I stopped. And I got it. I was like, oh wow. It used to be my job to digest this kind of a thing, but in this case, it's not. It's not mine to do. I've done certain things to give certain information to certain people whose role it is to do that. I've given my 2 cents. I've supported certain people in certain ways. And then now stop. It's not mine to do. And my body, Hygeia, um, the wisdom of my body was going, nope, you're done. Uh-uh. Um, so yeah, so that speaks to me so powerfully of this Mercury Hygeia Ixion trine, is that for we just look around the world, take 1 second to look anywhere in the world pretty much, and you're going to find probably an Ixion type of situation being unearthed, and something very upsetting that is a reflection of the exceedingly out of balance feminine masculine power dynamics, on and on, right? We can think of infinite examples of that going on, and they need to be unearthed. They have to be unearthed because the healing has to happen. The coming back to our wholeness is happening. But in that unearthing, certain things are ours to do and certain things are not ours to do. So Mercury going retrograde in Virgo is about, among other things, is about discernment and about digestion. Mercury has to do, Virgo has to do with the intestines, and specifically, especially the small intestine, which is the organ of our body that, decides this is nutritious, this is not nutritious, this is mine to keep, and this is not mine to keep. And it's like a sorting station, literally. And that's what Virgo energy can be, is really helping our bodies, our systems, our whole being get very clear. This is a yes, this is a no, this is mine to do, this is not mine to do, because we're in human earth bodies, and we're not here to be God. We're here to be the specific earth, sacred earth being temple that we are, Virgo. And we don't need to carry it all. We can't. It's not realistic. So I feel when Mercury is going retrograde right there in that grand trine, is basically supporting us to get it, to really listen to our bodies, listen to the earth itself. Huge. Again, because our bodies are the earth. Literally, it's made of what are we made of? If we're not made of the earth, what are we made of? And yeah. So our bodies know, the earth knows exactly what is ours to do and what isn't ours to do. And then, yeah, I'll just tie in one more theme, because it feels important. So the other really cool thing that came alive in the membership gathering today was what I do every month in those gatherings is we have a check-in, and then we talk about the astrology, and then I channel something that wants to come through. So what I channeled today ended up being actually about this Mercury retrograde, and it ended up being about the new moon in Leo and the whole kind of the tie of all of it. And I was saying to the group before I channeled, I feel there's something in this Mercury retrograde about the connection between Virgo and Leo, but I can't intellectually kind of get there yet. So, there's many, many things a person could say about the connection and the flow between Leo and Virgo. So many aspects to it, and no one right answer. But I'll tell you what came alive when I channeled, because it was really beautiful to me. And I loved it, and it felt really helpful to me. So basically, what came alive in the channeling was the presence of fairies. So fairies, earth beings, right? Virgo, earth. and magic of Earth. Virgo to me is super, super magical. I have my own moon and ascendant in Virgo. I love that, those aspects of Virgo energy. Um, and so fairies totally fit for me with Virgo energy. So this fairy realms came in. That's what was channeling through me. And basically they said, they were here to support us as beings of the earth to come back fully into the shining being, the truth of who we actually are and what it is that is ours to do, that is ours to fully shine as like a sunflower, right? The Leo self of who we are. And so again, this retrograde time bridges Leo and Virgo. And so what they're saying is, hey, we as beings of the earth, specifically these fairy realms, but just earth realms in general, we need you. We need you to be the Leo being that is you, the solar, the sun, the sunflower, the full shining manifestation of the divine that is specifically you. And so that ties into lots and lots of themes that I've talked about in so many infinite videos over weeks and months. You're gonna maybe get tired of this theme, but it's just here. It's just so true. And I'm seeing so many changes in lots and lots of you and people in lots of the gatherings I've been hosting. I mean, wow, it's like the shining beings are all coming awake, and it's amazing. Makes me cry. If you saw the interview I did with Jude Currivan, that one made me cry. Wow. She talks directly to you, to all of us. And she doesn't use the word Leo, but really what she's saying is we need you, just like those fairies, and really it's the earth. The earth needs us to be who we really, truly, actually are. Just like Jude was saying, and just like I've been saying, and just like the spirit world has been saying, our soul song, all of those themes, and again, to remember the wholeness that we are. So big, 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 big theme also of this whole Leo time, this whole month of August, this Mercury retrograde, and also the whole Regulus, heart of Leo, the lion, etc. Yeah. Okay. So that's many things. I could go on and on, but I think I'll stop there. And just to name a few things coming up. So number one, the Wholeness Way series now has 3 weeks, and I just put it up as a free course on my Teachable site. So I'm going to put the link here. You can access the whole thing for free here on my YouTube channel. Great. If you're already doing that, great. You can keep doing that. But if you want access to it in a one all-in-one location, like an organized way where you can also comment and you can share with each other, the link is here. You can sign up again for free. If you want to give an optional donation, you're welcome to, but it's not expected. You absolutely are welcome to have it for free. And so I did it like that so that you have a way so that it is all in one place and you don't have to go searching for it. So anyway, feel free to sign up for that. Another thing coming up is Melanie Reinhardt is going to be doing a part 2 to the workshop she did, the amazing, beautiful workshop she did on July 17th, which was recorded. And so that workshop was on the 4 main centaurs: Chiron, Cheroklo, Pholus, and Nessus. And Pholus is one of that group of the Capricorn beings that I mentioned. So, yeah, and Nessus just went retrograde with Saturn, and Saturn rules Capricorn. So Nessus and Pholus are very alive right now. And then Chiron just went retrograde, so very alive right now. And Cheroklo's always alive because so many of us just love Cheroklo, right? It's very, 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 all of these beings are wonderful, and Melanie is beyond wonderful. So yeah, so she's going to be doing a part 2 to that workshop, which will be on September 3rd. Anybody is welcome to join the part 2 if you've done part 1. And if you haven't done part 1 yet, it's all recorded and all available still, and you can still join it. You can even just join part 1 if you just want the recording of that part. But part 2 is going to be a much more personalized second part, where she's going to take volunteers to tell your own centaur stories, and to if you want to have her look at your chart, your specific chart, with the centaurs in there. So she won't be able to look at every single person's chart, but she's gonna draw names by divination, is what she said. And I think it's gonna be a really wonderful way to go more deeply into what the centaurs are, and to really get a feeling for them, even beyond just the intellectual of it, the intellectual side of it. So yeah, if you feel called to those centaurs, certainly still join that part 1 if you just want the recording of what was already done on July 17th, and or join both parts to come to the September 3rd version. And the September 3rd version will not be sold after the live event. So part 1 is available indefinitely, but Melanie really wanted to encourage people to, if possible, join live on the September 3rd one. So it's more of an intimate, more of a private feeling kind of a thing. But you're welcome to purchase, but the recording for both will be available indefinitely, but you'll only be able to purchase part 1 indefinitely, if that makes sense. If that's confusing, let me know and I can answer questions. But anyway, September 3rd, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you would like to dive more deeply into the centaurs, certainly join us. And then, just as a sort of heads up sneak preview, I haven't put up the sales page for this yet, but I am planning to do an eclipse workshop in September. In the second week of September. Yes, it is going to be on September 10th, Tuesday, September 10th, 10 a.m. Pacific. So that will be live and recorded and available indefinitely, and I'll put up more information about that in the coming weeks. And then Kelly Hunter will be doing a workshop in October on some Kuiper belt objects, so that's coming up. And yeah, but the Wholeness Way series, if you haven't joined that yet, please feel free. Please enjoy it anytime. Totally free, totally available forever. It's really a gift, and it's meant to be, the spirit world is just so, so, so clear that it's a big deal. We need to remember the wholeness that we are, and embody it, and encourage each other in it, cheer each other on with it. So I've been loving interacting with many of you, and I will be coming back for a week 4 in August. There's currently 3 weeks there. I'm going to be taking a bit of a break for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'm going to come back with a week 4, which is going to be with a theme called Becoming Homo Luminous Ones. So I'll say more about that, of course, coming up. And next week I'll be doing an interview with Pam Gregory for the series also, which of course is going to be wonderful. And yeah, so please share that far and wide with anybody you think might benefit. Totally free. Please join. Okay, great. And yeah, I do have a few one-on-one session times available in August. Not as many as I had available in July, but I do have some available in August and September, and beyond that. So if you're wanting a one-on-one session, certainly book that if you like. Great. I'll be back. I'll be a little more quiet than I have been for about 2 or 3 weeks. Give myself some listen to my own body, Hygeia wisdom, and just relax and take care of my daughter and myself, and yeah, be present in this moment. But I'll still be here. I'll be back. And thank you so, 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 so much for being part of this amazing community. And yeah, just the wisdom and the love and the support that's here is, I have no words. It's amazing. You're all amazing. So thank you so much. All right. I will see you soon.